The Slice of Gaming podcast is now 57% leaner and meaner on this episode for March 8th, 2024. I'm your host, Moonlight150, and we'd like to thank you for giving a slice of your time to tune in to a Slice of Gaming podcast. Be sure to follow us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pocket Casts, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Castbox, Radio Public, and Audible. Sure to like it and follow us on Twitter at A Slice of Gaming. We're going to be skipping the intros today because we actually have some housekeeping to do. We're going to give you a little bit of updates on how we're going to be doing things around here. You may have noticed that this episode, at least hopefully, is not a 3-hour long episode again, because we have made the decision to trim the fat on our shows, because not only I'm sure 3 hours is a long commitment for you guys to listen to, but it's also a commitment for us to make. So
Fusion was whining.
we had a couple whiners. Just a few. We won't name names.
Dark Fusion.
Fusion Dark. And and they just so happen to not be on the first new leaner episode. How about that? So we're going to be a little bit more picky on the topics that we use and discuss. And we're also, the big part is we're going to be, for the most part, cutting out the what we've been playing section, at least in certain aspects. We're not going to be going down the list and talking about every single game that we've been playing, especially during those times.
It'll be avoiding stuff like backlog games, basically.
Yeah.
Like if we're playing something like a Wolfenstein New Order, not New Order, Old Blood,
like Journey.
Yeah, something like that, like Fusion was talking about last week. We're just not going to talk about it because, I don't think you guys come here to listen to that. You want to hear about the new stuff.
Yeah, so
Rebirth, Persona, Helldivers.
I was getting to all this.
He never listens.
You cut me off.
Okay, well, I'd say re-explain something.
So pretty much how it's going to be going is we'll only be saving that for when there's a big new release that at least the majority of us are all playing, like Reload has been, Rebirth has been. But when it comes to those other times of the year when there's not a big game that all of us are playing, we're just kind of going to skip over it. Maybe just give like a couple minutes that one person can talk about if they really want to talk about it. Or if someone wants to give a shout out to like an old game they just want to blast for 30 seconds, you're like, what if Bench starts playing Balan Wonderworld and says, what, this game is actually good, and he wants to talk about that for a couple
That's
minutes.
when you know I need help.
That's a sign for help. But
when I was playing that game, there was genuinely like a 30-minute segment where I was like, people were too hard on this. This isn't that bad. And then I immediately went back to hell.
So you guys in the future watching this will know if we actually hit our mark. Our goal is now to try to keep the podcast under 2 hours. Funny enough, it kind of goes back to our name, A Slice of Gaming. The reason we called ourselves that was because it was supposed to be a 45-minute to hour podcast. But as we started doing the podcast, we realized, talking actually takes up a lot of time. So that's the new goal now, is to try to keep this under 2 hours. One, for the viewer, because I'm sure a 3-hour podcast is quite the commitment. And if you have been watching for the whole episode all the way through, thank you for that. But we're going to try to make it easier on you by making it easier on us for recording, because we record late at night and all of us besides me are in further time zones, so it's much later for them. So anyway, as I said, we were skipping the intros, but I will at least let you know who's here today. We have Wolf.
Hi, new mic, new me.
We have Bench.
Hi, new mic is coming soon, not me.
And we got Beef here too.
You are all safe from hearing about NBA 2K24.
We got here just in time with the new format.
Let me add that to the Slice of Gaming thing. All right.
But now that we got the house cleaning all cleaned up, we'll move on to Wolf for our new, slimmer, more carefully picked news.
Did my man just say house cleaning? We're gonna let him skip by that, guys, or we're gonna get him for
I said house cleaning like 3 times.
House cleaning? It's always housekeeping, isn't it?
Oh, is it? I don't know. I don't watch enough Kind of Funny.
It's housekeeping. But I was like, house cleaning. I don't think
that's how we differentiate ourselves from Kind of Funny.
Yeah. They copied us already, saying housekeeping, so we have to change it because they're the bigger ones.
No, they copied us because they did ties on their Game of the Year discussion, and we did that first.
Yeah, can you believe that? God. Frauds. Anyways, we got a pretty light news week, all things considered, even with our new format of being a lot more picky. It turns out there wasn't a lot to be picky about because there really just wasn't much news in general this week. But I think there was one big thing that kind of happened around the beginning of the week And that's the whole Yuzu situation. Nintendo Switch emulator creator settles Nintendo lawsuit for $2.4 million. Andy Robinson at VGC has the story. Tropic Haze, the creator of the Switch emulator Yuzu, was sued by Nintendo last month. The platform holder had claimed that Yuzu was facilitating piracy at a colossal scale. On Monday, the two parties mutually agreed on a monetary settlement and permanent injunction. As part of the judgment by the U.S. District Court of Rhode Island, Tropic Haze was issued with a permanent injunction preventing it from offering or marketing Yuzu or any of its source code in the future. And then they put out an actual statement, which I have a whole
Users.
thought about. Users. There's something I want to mention about that statement. We'll get into it later. Its members are also prevented from creating any future software that circumvents Nintendo's technical protection, and Tropic Haze must surrender all website domains and information related to its emulator. The permanent injunction constitutes a binding court order, and any violations by Tropic Haze or its members will subject them to full scope of the court's contempt authority, including punitive and monetary sanctions. In its initial lawsuit documents, Nintendo claimed that last year's biggest Switch release, The Tears of the Kingdom, was pirated over 1 million times in the week and a half before the release in May. So this was a very much a developing situation. This kind of broke around the beginning of the week, and throughout the week, we kind of learned more about what exactly happened between Yuzu and Nintendo. How Yuzu was so brolic and upfront, oh no, we're gonna fight this, and then 2 days later they folded.
They
Very
flew.
interesting situation, all things considered. But I I have some thoughts on this. I want to turn it over to one of y'all first. Bench, I'll start with you.
I think it's very clear that Yuzu flew a little too close to the sun and they got burned. Because, I mean, if they kind of did what emulators like Dolphin and stuff do, and don't take donations or anything, kind of keep it clean, don't directly encourage piracy, then you're not gonna have a situation of what happened to Yuzu. I do think Yuzu's whole thing was self-inflicted, pretty much. I mean, it's no doubt that Nintendo was always just had them under a microscope, and that they just finally messed up, and that was their downfall. So
Yeah, that kind of something you mentioned there is the Patreon. They basically had a Patreon that made them about 30K a month, and this Patreon was basically locking the updated versions of Yuzu and the emulator kind of behind a paywall to say, hey, if you pay this amount, you can get this new emulator. And within the Yuzu Discord, they outright just had the creators of Yuzu giving instructions on how to pirate Tears of the Kingdom. And Nintendo very much had that information. Of it wasn't gonna just go under their noses. They very much saw that, and I think Yuzu basically saw that evidence and said, "Okay, we're not gonna win this. Let's just fold. It's not worth it." I think I very much want emulators to be around, but when you are emulating a device that's currently on the market, that's when things get a little murky. And when it gets really murky is when you start using paywalls, uh, monetary thing. You're trying to get paid for this stuff, and it's if it's very much a hey, we have this emulator, it just emulates Switch games, but we're not being paid, we're not monetizing it, we're just free updates and all that, like a lot of other Switch emulators do, then it's fine. But Nintendo, it's hang on, you're doing a Patreon, you're directly asking them to pirate Tears of the Kingdom. That's when we're having an issue. Beef, did you have any thoughts on this big old situation?
Yeah, I might be the one who probably used Yuzu the most, and Citra, which got crossfire, but I'm not too worried about this. I know a lot of people are making a big, not stink, but nervous about is this Nintendo gonna go for emulators nowadays? And I'm like, no, this is pretty special for the reasons we've listed. They were kind of it was kind of a code, and people make emulators and homebrewing to you mostly do this for free. You mostly don't take donations, and you don't real. They know people do these things for piracy, but you don't literally talk about. You always say get your own BIOS, get your own ROM. So yeah, I'm not surprised. I think this is a pretty one-off situation, and I'm not too worried about this for the future of emulators. Luckily.
Especially now that they have the example. Yuzu's now been made an example of here's what happens when you take it a little too far.
I do think it's a shame about Citra though, because I mean I never used it, but I know it's. I mean,
Yeah, I do.
3DS games are
Yeah.
Oatmeal Dome has this one. Citra is now shutting down the GitHub repository along with all
Mhm.
downloads have been removed. But yeah, go ahead, Beef.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
so I
think
don't.
it's.
You want me to go first,
Go
bench?
ahead.
Because I don't know. I don't know if they've said Citra was. I don't. I wasn't around when Citra was like being more used. Citra's actually not been updated apparently in years. It basically is fully done. So this is another thing where I'm like, and you can still find it. So I'm like so heartbroken that that's taken down. Whereas Yuzu obviously was still gonna keep getting updated for newer games. So Citra's like a sad one. I think people still find it, which that one I'm a little more like. I think people like, yeah, you should be able to use that because the 3DS is basically done now that eShop shut down. So that is a good way to play a lot of games, but it's definitely a different one and weird that got caught on the crossfire.
And I do think it's interesting to talk about how like Nintendo is like sees like I don't not trademarks, but pretty much the names of these things. So pretty much that means if anyone uses these names going forward, they pretty much have full legal precedent to go after them.
Yeah, that seems to usually be the case. I will say, as someone who very much cares about game preservation, it was a little disheartening hearing about Citra, but I mean, what you said, Beef, it's pretty much the emulator's done, and once something's on the internet, it's not going away. So
Yeah, it,
I think people are going to be able to keep emulating 3DS games, so that's very good.
there were people who are also like upset, like like because emulate still even old ones still do. Like that's also why I'm like not too worried. I'm almost certain if anything, this might, kind of bring about a new emulator. Like the best PlayStation emulator, like DuckStation, really is like only 2 years old for the PS1, a 20th console. So I'm not too worried that like this is the end for 3DS emulation.
I mean, it's like Hydra. You cut one head off, three more sprout out. It's
Yeah,
whereas
I mean,
that's
yeah,
just how this works.
so yeah, we'll just see. We'll have to see what the future lies for these consoles.
Yeah, this is an interesting situation to monitor, but I do agree very much with you, Beef, that this seems to be a one-off. This seems to be something that's, hey, we wanted to make an example because of the Patreon, because of the money they're bringing in.
Because they were literally taking in 30K a month.
I couldn't
Yeah,
believe that.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys surprised by the $2.4 million? It's like, oh, you guys have that money? I know
Yeah, that
30K a
was the
month is a
surprise for
lot,
me.
but
I don't think they
like,
have that money, but it wouldn't surprise me if they have close to that.
That they're
oh,
also
yeah,
going
I'm
to
a
be
they have
probably
little.
lot of
paying
money.
that for the next couple of years.
Well, that's also the thing that's it's under an LLC. It's under like a business technically, so they can't really go after individuals.
I'm
They
a
probably
little.
could.
I'm a little
Go
shocked.
ahead.
I think that's kind of low. Because remember, I forget what Gary Bowser was doing. He was selling something for like I don't know if you guys remember him, who like owes like every
Oh,
penny for the
yeah.
rest of his life. I think because they said like 1 million people played Tears of the Kingdom early, so
I
two point
expected them to
three,
have to pay like
two
$70
point
million.
four million. Yeah, it's like 2 million. Yeah, that's all you want for it, maybe. I mean,
I think
that's I think
Nintendo.
it's almost low.
I think it's slow, but I think Nintendo got what they wanted, which was the end of
Yeah,
Yuzu and just Citra. Because I
that's
think
you're probably
if
right.
and I think if it would have gone on, if they Yuzu were to actually like try and take it to court, it would have been much more. But they didn't want to do that because they maybe could have won, but it would have been so costly in the long run.
Yeah, do you guys think this is just like the full end of this story? Like we're not going to get any more
For the
updates
most
from
part,
Yuzu?
yeah. I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
there will be
Um,
like something that comes out, but for the most part, it's going to be that this is it.
I did hear
yeah.
discussions. People were wondering like, oh man, this doesn't happen with Sony or Microsoft. And the big thing is that one, Sony and Microsoft games like gigabyte size is much bigger. It is a lot harder to like pirate games from those consoles. But also, it's like, do you think Nintendo looks at this situation, looks at just how easy piracy was on the Switch for so many people, and they're like, okay, for Switch 2, we're gonna need to really buckle down and like make sure this isn't nearly as simple.
I mean,
I'm sure they'll try.
the Switch was like cracked in the first year, which is pretty
First
unprecedented.
day.
So
It was
like,
like the first week or something, I remember.
yeah. So I mean, this has been on their mind when making the new console for sure for years. They know they can't let it happen again because they probably have lost a ton of money because of it.
Yeah, for sure. I think you look at. I will say it's like, oh, they lost a ton of money because of it. The big thing is that when it comes to pirates, they probably weren't gonna buy the game
No.
for the most part. Like obviously, there's like special situations. Like maybe you'll get like of those million people that downloaded Tears of the Kingdom illegally, maybe like 100K of them would have actually gone out and bought the game if they couldn't pirate it. But like most of the pirates are not going to like go out and buy the game, so that's not really a market you're gonna try to like completely stop. Like you're never gonna completely stop piracy. It's gonna always be there. It just depends on what form piracy takes.
And how easy it is, because Switch piracy,
Mhm.
anyone can do it.
Exactly. And also for anyone wondering, Dark kind of just shares our same thoughts on all of this. He's like, yeah, the Yuzu devs were pretty stupid for even trying to do the Patreon and everything. So if anyone wanted an update on that specifically, his thoughts on it.
I think it's
He
just
also told
funny, like how
Bench.
much it was such a like a small nose thing on like our podcast last week. I'm like, yeah, this is them going to court with Nintendo. There's gonna be either a long drawn out thing or it's gonna be settled real quick, and then it was settled real quick, but not in the way we thought.
It legitimately felt like it was going to be like something we update in like a year's time. Like, oh, hey guys, remember this? But no, it was very much like literally the same week the
Well,
news broke.
yeah, because I think it seemed like people kind of came out and like, oh, these guys were like pretty brazen about like they're doing the like what they shouldn't do with emulators. So
Yeah, I
it
had
became
no
pretty
idea about any of that.
it became pretty clear. It's like, oh, they're taking money. They're talking about piracy in the Discord. No, they're fucked.
Well, if that's everything, let's move on to our next topic, the Xbox Partner Showcase, or Partner Preview. I don't know why they don't just call it showcase, but okay. For March
Nintendo.
2024.
Because that's a PlayStation thing.
Did they trademark showcase? Is that a
No,
thing?
but it's like when a word is associated, you kind of just avoid it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fair enough. Partner preview, March 2024. I have the Xbox Wire, basically everything that was shown off. They had a nice little visual, just so I don't forget anything. But we're gonna do our classic highlight, low light, and all that for everyone. But just off the rip, like, what's our overall thoughts on this bad boy? Anyone have something they want to say?
I think it was just what it needed to be. I mean, it was good. I only watched it because I was just laying in bed and it was on right when I woke up. So, but I mean, it was a good show. I mean, there was nothing like mind blowing, but yeah, it was good.
I
It
mean, what
didn't
do you
like
expect
fill
from a
out the year,
partner?
but
Yeah.
That's I think that's kind of like the thing they want to point. They kind of want to market these almost like partner showcases for Nintendo. It's like, don't expect much.
I mean,
It's
even
like,
not expecting much. There was some bigger stuff in there, just nothing like big brand. I guess I don't know.
It's because of that third party, so it's never going to be like the big
Yeah.
IPs or anything.
I said as a joke, it's like, yo, Doom's gonna be here, right, guys? I don't know. I was very much like, it's fine. Like I don't really have many thoughts on this because it was kind of just whatever it needed to be. Just show off some third party games. I'm always down for just showcases that just show off games. And I think expectations were set correctly. They weren't gonna try to hype this thing up to oblivion. They were like, hey, it's gonna be like showing off some third party games. Tune in if you want. And I didn't actually catch it live. I caught it later. And it wasn't one of those things where I missed some crazy announcement. I just missed some trailers. And
Yeah.
hey, I'm always down to watch some game trailers.
Yeah, I was pretty much the same, and I'll talk about the few things that got me at least interested. But I think for the most part, they didn't like hype it up really. They would pretty much set the right expectations. Even the games they like talked about like beforehand that would be there, none of them were like big showstoppers. So I left happy enough.
Let's do our highlights. We'll start with highlights. I'll start with my highlight for me personally. It was the Stalker original trilogy. They kind of showed off this just way to finally like play the Stalker games on console because they were it was a PC franchise. So I'm actually very excited to check these games out. I hear a lot of good things about it, but I also hear it's like, hey, this is going to be something you're going to need to put your brain on for. It's a very hardcore PC centered franchise. I'm very interested in checking it out. It was actually a shadow drop, which, listen, man, there's too much to play right now. Did you have to shadow drop it? Is always my thought about these type of things nowadays. But I'm also like, hey, I'm that's not gonna go anywhere. I'll check it out. At least I will buy it and check it out before Stalker 2 comes out because that is definitely one of my most anticipated games right now.
And then they shadow dropped Soccer 2 in June. just to
No.
fuck with you.
Thank God it's a September game. That's like, okay, nothing's in September right now. I can plan ahead.
Oh yeah, I forgot it did come out. Get revealed for September. Never mind.
Very excited for that. Bench, what was your highlight?
I have two highlights. I think the
I
Final
said one.
Fantasy. I'm saying two. Because one isn't really. It's just something I want to like touch on very briefly. Was the Final Fantasy 14 trailer? Honestly, I mean, I'm almost caught up. I'm 2 patches behind now because I just haven't played it because all the games. I mean, it was just like a minute-long trailer compiling like a lot of the things from the first 4 expansions and main games. It was just kind of a cool thing to watch because we haven't really gotten something like that. So that was just a cool reminder of how good that game is and how just I love it so much. And then other highlight was Persona 3 Reload: The Answer being announced, which I think is really good because it kind of finally puts the stamp that Reload is the definitive edition of Persona 3, which just never really existed. I don't want to hear FemC stuff because I don't really care, but
Damn, is that what you think of FemC? Bro said, I don't care.
like, come on, it's not the end of the world. Like, come on.
I mean,
You're
technically, since Aegis is the main character now, doesn't that technically make her a femc?
damn straight. Yeah. So yeah,
Beef,
that's
you're... Oh, sorry. Sorry, did you have
You want me to
anything?
go ahead?
no, that's
Well,
about it.
because I was. Wait, okay.
Oh, no.
Go
wanted
ahead.
to ask
Wolf.
you, Beef, before you played. Did you play The Answer? Because I heard
Yes,
The
yes.
Answer is good.
So the answer is a complicated thing. I think people kind of. Some people are like all correct in that it's too long. The big problem is it's very. There's a bit in there that is stretched super thin over like very repetitive gameplay. Now, Reload's gameplay, I think, is much better. Obviously, I think all of us seem to like be pretty much like, yeah, it's really good. It's broad. So I think that's gonna help, and hopefully they give it some more spice. So we'll see how that goes. Narratively, I'm like, I know some people don't like it. I think it's, I'm not too. I think it's just fine, kind of cool as an epilogue to the story. So I'm looking forward to it, and I'm very shocked it's gonna be free for Game Pass members. I never expect that to happen, so that's just gonna help me a lot. I'm definitely gonna play it now.
They also came out and said it'll be a little shorter.
Yeah, that
Oh,
it's there's no reason. I don't know what people say. I think it took me 25 hours to beat, and like, I guess I could look up the cutscenes. I doubt the like story's like more than 2 hours of that.
that is crazy. That
It was
like,
really
the story part of it is 2 hours.
It's very much like with many things in 3. It's like the predecessor to the expansions in 4 and 5, but like just like the predecessor, and this is definitely the worst one. I would, yeah,
Beef,
like
did you have...
even if someone loves
Go
3,
ahead.
it's their favorite game. I Fez is worse than like the answer is worse than like the add in and reload and golden. I can definitely admit that.
Yeah, I'm very interested in checking it out. September?
But yeah, it's still worth.
Is
I
that...
think it'll be good. Check out. Yeah.
Is September far? Do you guys think that's farther than you expected, or is it like
A
that's
little bit, but
A
at the
little
same
bit.
time, it's I don't know. It works, but it's also far away at the same time. If that makes any sense.
They said it's only like halfway done.
Mm-hmm.
if they look at me in the face and say, "Hey, it's the same release date as Stalker 2," I'm gonna be pissed.
Then like the rumored date for like Metaphor is apparently like October, so maybe just getting that out of the way, but I don't know.
Is it not delayed yet?
It's not getting delayed, Wolf. It's
I
gonna
don't
be
know,
peak,
man.
and it's gonna be this year, and we're gonna enjoy it. And that's a low light though, that it wasn't here. I wanted that to be here.
That's your low light? That it wasn't
Yeah.
here?
They showed Persona, and then I thought that maybe Metaphor would be here, and then it wasn't.
That's an E3. That feels like E3, or
I
you
don't know,
know
I'm
that
just-
time that time
I
frame.
just want to know more.
Beef, what's your highlight?
Okay, so we touched on the answer. So I'm pulling the thing back up. I think so. The big one, and I'm still like not sure, but I'm kind of trusting is Capcom's Path of the Goddess, and I think like
this one's
it's
weird.
kind of hard to tell exactly, like what is going on in the trailer because and it looks complex, but I think it just looks interesting enough, and with Game
Because
Pass, I'm
they call it
definitely
an action like real time.
E-
real-time simulator. You have to
Hmm.
like manage a bunch of things while you're doing action.
Yeah. So, which I like interesting, unique games. So, like, I'm completely fine trying it out, and I definitely trust Capcom, even though I don't think we know exactly, what division of Capcom is making it. But I'm basically having at least some faith that it's going to be good and interesting.
And it
And
helps that
other
it's
than
going
that,
to be on Game Pass, so at least we can at least try it
yeah,
out.
yeah. And other than that, I'm just I don't really have any other strong highlights, but like yeah, the other games. I'm glad a few of these are coming to Game Pass, at least for people playing Xbox. I think that just helps more than just like watching these and being like, maybe, because at least then you can say, like, I guess I'll check it out if it looks interesting enough.
Moon, what was your highlight?
Probably between like Sleight of Hand and Unknown Nine Awakening. They just kind of looked like my kind of games. But honorable mention to the Sinking City 2 because I was the only one in the Discord who called that. Because I think I'm the only person who cared about the Sinking City one.
I'm mad because I would have called that. I was calling that while watching the trailer. So
I, I,
that's a sources do trust me type deal.
yeah. I had an idea, but
But
I haven't played the first one yet. I do want to
I
play it.
haven't either. I just bought it and then I still haven't gotten around to. So at least this makes me more motivated to play the first game.
Yeah, that's the pan trailer you mentioned. My issue, I feel like if it's a new IP, I kind of need to see gameplay. Like I can't like have the reveal be CG because it just says like, oh, it's a stealth open world sim, and I'm like, okay, but
Hmm.
what does it look like? What is this game gonna be like? I can put it in my imagination, but there's not really much on the trailer for me to parse out.
Yeah, they gave you cards.
Oh god. Listen, like we need to stop doing cards after Slay the Spire. That game figured it out, and then it's like, all right, no more cards. I I guess now we can go into lowlights real quick. I did forget to mention with Kunitsu Gami. I wanted to ask, Beef. Do you think this game needs like basically just a hands-on demo from someone? Because
Ooh, I would.
because
Yeah.
that's my issue right now. Because I'm looking at it. It's like yeah, they're showing gameplay, but I still don't really know what's happening. I would like the director or something to basically like spend like 30 minutes on a live stream. Go like, okay, this is how it's played.
I'm sure we're
Like
gonna
answer
get
questions.
that at like
Hmm.
some point coming up before it comes out.
This will go into
Yeah,
low
there's
light. Oh, go ahead.
oh, is there a date for it yet? I forget.
No, that's what I was just gonna
2024.
say. I was gonna say for lowlights, there was not enough dates. I think. Oh, like exact dates. Yeah, because they
Yeah,
only
there's
say
like no dates for
2024.
anything.
That's a bit of. That's probably the hardest thing about
But
it. Is like
that's not an Xbox
I
problem. That's a whole industry problem. Like every
I
showcase we've had so far has like no dates on anything.
People are
yeah
just
I
scared to date stuff now, I think, because things
I know.
Oh
change
yeah.
so fast.
Which sucks because like it tricks my brain. I think it's not a trick, but seeing just 2024, I'm like that could be November. That's so far away. That's why I much prefer, yeah. But I kind of get it because yeah, this could be out not for a while, but yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, yeah, I'm very curious. Like, I think Bench is right, where it's like the industry is kind of scared to date things now because things move so much. AAA development is probably the most difficult it's ever been in like years, and they're just a lot of these devs are like worried. It's like I don't know if we can even like say solidify a date until we are like pretty much 3 months out at this point. So I think it's just something to get used to now. It's like I don't think we're gonna get dates for games until we're 3 months
Mm,
out.
shit.
Like I mean, do you remember with Starfield when they dated that like a year in advance?
Well, yeah,
And
but
it
look
did
what.
not land that at all.
Mhm.
It's not worth it. It's like, hey, we're gonna date when we're ready to date, basically. For low lights, there's a really obvious low light that I couldn't
Yeah.
choose, but I'm gonna go with I'll let Bench have that one because he was the one complaining about it the most. So I'm gonna go with kind of a weird low light because this is a game I'm actually interested in, but this was a really bad showing. The first Berserker Kazan. This is the Souls like in the DNF universe, which I don't even know, but it, this is a game that definitely looked really cool to me, and I was always like very interested from the first trailer. I think at Game Awards, the Game Awards before last. But this was just like, what is going on with the frame rate in this trailer? I think to me, it's like a weird thing where this is your trailer. This is the thing that you're wanting to show people, and the frame rate is bad. Like, what does it look like normally? This is the good part. It's a very confusing trailer to me because, like, I love Souls likes. I think it looks more interesting than other Souls likes. But even then, I'm just sitting there like, I can't really be excited for something where the frame rate is dipping below 30.
Yeah, that game just looked bad to me. And the
Yeah,
first
and I don't
trailer
blame
was
you.
cool.
I don't blame you because that frame rate is just, what the hell is happening here?
And coming from a non-Souls fan, like, even moving on from the frame rate stuff, it just looked like your average Souls. Like, there's nothing unique about it. Like, there's no like Bloodborne Gothic art style. There's no Elden Ring like Miyazaki fantasy to it. There was just, or the mechanical fantasy of Lies of P. Like, there was nothing to distinguish the cell from any other Souls like, and I think that was like its biggest downfall, is there was nothing unique about it. The gameplay looked standard, generic Souls like that you see on a million other times. Now, granted, they all probably do look the same to me. You need like an actual Souls like fan to explain, but
You're not that far off.
yeah, it just looked bland.
This is my hope for this game, is that it's a 7 out of 10 Taco Bell Souls like, where it's like, you don't go to Taco Bell for good food. You go to Taco Bell because you want something quick, fast, and tasty in the moment. And this looks like a Taco Bell quick, fast, tasty in the moment Souls like. Ben, she'll give you the obvious low light. I know you want to talk about this.
I have an obvious low light that I don't know about.
Come on, dude. It's the most obvious low light. We were
He's
all
probably-
whining about it. I'm letting you have the moment.
There was no big thing at the end.
Look at the freaking Xbox partner preview. Which thing does not look right compared to the other games?
One of these things just doesn't belong.
Oh, the Roblox thing. Yeah, that was goofy.
Thank you. Jesus Christ, I hate this guy. I'm kicking him off the pod. Yeah, no, that looked terrible. We can all agree there.
It's like, why does a Roblox mod get into a partner showcase?
I mean, listen, I
Yeah.
know Roblox is like the biggest thing in the world, but like, come on. Like, because it's Chucky? Is that it?
Yeah, I guess so, because I guess they got the voice of Chucky to voice him.
That one was funny because I don't know if they said it was Roblox at the start, but the whole time
No,
I was kinda watching-
They didn't.
because I was watching my phone, I was like, "This looks really bad. This looks like Roblox?" And I was like, "Oh my god, this looks horrible."
And then
Funny
it is
because
Roblox.
And
That's
yeah,
funny,
I was
don't
like,
think they
"Okay,
even said
that makes
Roblox
it a
in the
little
trailer.
better."
Like, it was like at the end when they showed all
Yeah.
the games. It's like, oh, that was Roblox. Very weird. I don't know. Like, it's just like, you don't have to fill out the partner showcase by adding
We could
something
have
like
dealt
that.
with a 2-minute shorter showcase without that.
Exactly. I do quickly want to shout. Oh, actually, man, did you have your low light already? I forget.
Outside of the obvious Chucky thing, I think I'm gonna probably get a little roasted for this, but the altars like both interested me and did not at the same time.
Yeah, this one was weird.
It was
I'm
like, I like
kinda-
the concept, but I don't think I'm a fan of the gameplay that it actually had. So
Yeah,
if that
this
makes
one-
any sense.
No, I get what you mean. It's definitely, it's an intriguing concept. I think it was one of those trailers that I was like, okay, you guys can end the trailer now. Like, I get the point. But I do love the idea of like, hey, there's so many different like possibilities. Like, you have your different universe.
Yeah, like that's all
people.
cool. And then it became just like a home base management simulator. I'm just like, oh.
B, if you're a sci-fi guy, did that trailer do much for you?
Kind of. I think I'm pretty similar to Moon. That like I'm intrigued. I'll probably look out for it, but how
It
do I
helps that
end
it's
up
coming to
liking-
Game Pass.
That's-
That helps.
That will help. It didn't even put this year on that though, so that hurts. I think it was like 2024 now that I'm looking at it, so I don't know. It really did because even those the outside part, I'm like, so is this also just Death Stranding, which I do like, but we'll see about that. So I think there's just too many questions for me to have an opinion on it.
Yeah, was it just 2024 or no date?
I think
Pretty
it's-
much everything here was 2024 for the most part.
I think so. I'm not saying
Second
it.
City 2.
I will say it's apparently the Frostpunk 2 devs. It's both 11-bit studios, so maybe that's a little interesting. We'll see.
Yeah, I hear good things about Frostpunk. The Frostpunk 2 trailer didn't do much for me.
Nah.
I'm kind of, it was just like, give me Civilization. That's all I really care about. But I hear good things about Frostpunk. And then another real quick highlight I just want to point out. God, where is it now? I forgot. Oh, Tales of Kanzaru Zao. This was kind of that African mythology Metroidvania. Honestly, this is the showing that actually got me a lot more interested in the game.
Yeah,
I'm
because
still
it showed
not
off
like
gameplay.
red.
That's why.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still not red hot. Like, oh man, I can't wait for this. But I'm like, okay, this is definitely a wait for reviews type deal instead of like not really feeling anything. But yeah, that seems to be everything in regards to the partner showcase. Overall, decent presentation. I come out. It's like a 6 out of 10 for me, which is pretty much what I expected. Moving on, guys. What's your favorite gaming company right now? What is your favorite one in the industry?
Ubisoft.
WB.
Man,
There you
Sega.
go.
Oh,
Right answer, Bench. Bench got it. WB, and they're back in the news, baby. Warner Brothers reiterates plans to increase focus on free-to-play and live service games. This comes from Tom Ivan over at VGC. Speaking at a Morgan Stanley conference, JB Perrette, the company's CEO of global streaming and games, said the majority of our business revolves around four main forms of IP and games, which are all $1 billion plus businesses themselves. They are Mortal Kombat, Game of Thrones, DC, and Harry Potter. While last year's Harry Potter spinoff, Hogwarts Legacy was
Water.
2023's best-selling game, this year's Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League has failed to meet the company's expectations. Quote, the challenge we've had is that our business historically, there has been very AAA console based, and so, as you know, that's a great business when you have a hit like Harry Potter. It makes the year look amazing. And when they don't have a release, or unfortunately, we also have disappointments. I think I read that wrong. And then when you don't have a release, or unfortunately, we also have disappointments. We just released Suicide Squad this quarter, which was not as strong. It just makes it very volatile, said Perrette. Warner Brothers Discovery CEO David Zaslav said in December that the company was focused on, quote, transforming our biggest franchises from largely console and PC based with 3 or 4 release year schedules to include more always-on gameplay through live services, multi-platform, and free-to-play extensions.
Woo!
Yeah, I don't know about you guys. I'm not a big fan of this. Is that an unpopular opinion?
No, it's like right on the money. I mean, there's obviously going to be those people who play nothing but live service games and games that are just constantly being updated. But I think the pendulum is slowly swinging back towards single player games, both in the industry and for a lot of gamers. And just seeing them take some of the biggest IPs in the world and be like, yeah, live service games, and just kind of disappointing.
That's the thing, is that single player games aren't, it's not like they're coming back. They've been back. The problem is like it's now more so that the live service games that are out are the live service games that are gonna be here to stay. Stuff like Fortnite, Destiny 2. For some reason I can't think of any other live services. Okay, what happened to my
mine,
brain?
and like
Minecraft, I guess.
Minecraft,
Yeah.
League of Legends, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, there's these solidified live service games that pretty much have their fan bases, and these fan bases aren't going to switch off to another game. Like Fortnite fans, they stick with Fortnite. They're not going to go to the next Time Splitters because, oh, well, now it's a live service game. Now I got to play this instead. They're going to stick with Fortnite. It's doesn't really make sense from a business standpoint to have a new live service game because it's like, oh, well, now we're going to make even more money. We want to have Fortnite money. The problem is you're not going to make Fortnite money because there already is a Fortnite, and people on Fortnite aren't going to switch off to your new Hogwarts live service game just because it's live service. That's not what matters. Is making a new game, a
Yeah.
good game.
Now, there is a caveat to at least when we talk about Harry Potter, because Hogwarts Legacy hit that fan base in a holy shit, we can attend Hogwarts in an RPG like setting, but now you can take that going to Hogwarts school as a live service game that constantly gets updated. They might have something there, but for the majority, no, this is a bad idea.
Yeah, I did hear rumors about there being like a Quidditch game that Avalanche is working on. And I'm just like,
why are you using your main developing studios like resources on this, like Avalanche Studios? They're a very talented dev. Have them just make the next Hogwarts game instead of doing like this Quidditch thing. Have one of your smaller studios take that instead. It just feels like to me a waste of resources to basically have these really powerful studios that make amazing games go, actually, you're gonna make a live service now because look at what happened to Rocksteady. It's just it's funny to me to hear the statement after Suicide Squad kills the Justice League. Any
Yeah,
other
that's
part
the
of the year
funniest
it would have
part.
sounded, any other part of the year it would have sounded weird. Here it sounds even weirder because you just
Yeah.
had the best selling game
Yeah,
of last year.
because I was gonna mention that. I was like, I think WDB's made the one critic. I mean, there's a lot of problems with this, but the biggest issue I think WD has is they have not made it even a slightly decent live service. Even like the live service adjacent games or like multiplayer stuff like Gotham Knights and Back for Blood have also been kind of just mediocre in a lot of people's eyes. So it's like I don't know if what WB is thinking that they're gonna succeed, like have a Helldivers kind of moment with any of their games.
That's the thing, Beef. They actually had a really successful live service for a little bit. If you remember Multiverses.
It's going
Oh
back.
yeah,
That was
Apparently coming
very
back.
successful. Yeah, that's the thing though. It's coming back. Why did it leave? That's my question. It's like, okay, you had a good live service, you had people playing it, that it was constantly updating, and then you're like, actually, it's gone. It's like, okay,
Apparently they
you
had to work on it some more. That was probably the beta.
which is insane to me because it's like Fortnite. I think it's still technically in beta. You could have just kept working on it while you were making the full release. I don't know. Just like let people still play it. Yeah. This is a very Warner Brothers is a pretty weird company, guys.
They're doing a lot of shit right now.
I'm still mad about Coyote versus Acme. Like that's
You know
genuinely
you
like,
fucked up when the movie hater is upset about a movie not coming out.
I know, right? But like
I'm.
genuinely, I was really excited for that.
I mean, and now they're apparently taking off like a bunch of Adult Swim games from Steam. So I'm
Yeah.
also I'm running out of like any sympathy. I'm like, I'm not even gonna buy them. I would literally just find crime ways to play them because I'm not giving them money in the last if they're gonna do this.
Yeah, I saw some of the developers of those Adult Swim games just
Yeah,
make their games free.
yeah, and some of them I think are trying to they're trying to say maybe they can republish them. So in that case, yeah, I'd pay for it.
Do you guys think like WB is gonna try to get out of the gaming business and go, you know what, we're gonna sell these studios and like the rights to these IPs
No,
to like a Microsoft?
because making games is a great subsidiary for IPs like Harry Potter and even like Mortal Kombat to an extent, even though that's like a full game thing. Like they might chip away at some of the smaller stuff, but I think like their major IPs they'll hold on to because those are constant money makers.
Yeah, I mean, of course they keep the IP, but do they keep the studios?
That's hard to say.
Right? Because like right now their big four are Rocksteady, NetherRealm, Monolith, the Monolith that does Shadow of War, by the way, not Nintendo Monolith, and what was the last one? Rocksteady, Monolith,
Um,
Yeah. It's kind of
W-
crazy that
NetherRealm.
Wonder Woman is going to be a live service.
No, Wonder
Yeah.
Woman isn't a live service.
I thought it is a live service.
No, they said it's not going to be a live service.
Okay.
Broke the commented after like 20 minutes of silence just to say that. Misinformation spreader over here. Man, now I'm like blanking. Am I crazy? Wait, so
I don't know if you
Monolith,
said
Rocksteady. Maybe I said it already.
it was WB
Oh,
Montreal who did Gotham Knights.
oh yeah. I
And
guess they have 5 then. Yeah.
there's probably someone else we're forgetting, but
No, I think I got.
there's
Okay,
one.
yeah. So it's Monolith, Rocksteady, Avalanche, NetherRealm, and WB Montreal. The question is, do any of those get shut down? I'm a little worried for Rocksteady. I think they'll be fine though. You're gonna probably see layoffs for Rocksteady, but hopefully that's like the extent of it. They don't have to fully shut down after Suicide Squad. They can actually make something good. You would think.
You would hope.
Yeah. Rough situation over at WB. Love that company. Moving on. Ghost of Tsushima is coming on to PC May 16th. We got a final release date for this bad boy that's been rumored for a while. Shinobi has this. Features unlocked frame rate, ultra wide, super ultra wide, and triple monitor support, DLSS 3, AMD FSR 3, NVIDIA Reflex DLA, DualSense support, and customizable mouse plus keyboard controls. All you PC warriors are gonna have to help me there because I don't know any of those words. But yeah, this was something that was rumored for quite a while. We kind of knew that it was gonna eventually be revealed. We literally knew that the PC port was gonna be revealed like the day before because they kept saying like, "Hey guys, the PC port is supposed to be revealed tomorrow." And it's like, man, this is a weirdly unkept secret, but hey, there it is. But yeah, I wonder if it's deck compatible. That'd be actually really interesting to hear. It seems like it would be a game that would run well on deck. I don't know
I
how
would
like stuff
assume.
like Spider-Man ran.
I would assume so, just because it was a PS4 game. Obviously, like you can't do all the accoutrements, but it was a PS4 game, and I know the deck is supposed to be at least similar, so it should run at least on a certain settings on deck.
Do you think Beef? Do you have PC? Do you PC game at all?
I mostly am just on the Steam Deck, and I guess the
Do you
question is,
think you would go in depth for this?
because I was about to say, because I didn't think about it much when they announced it until just right now, and I'm like, because I have played Ghost of Tsushima, I do, and obviously I like it a lot, and now I'm like, how long has it been since I played it? I don't think I've played it since launch, which is weird because it does not feel like it's been 3 years since I played that game. So I'm like, So we'll definitely see when it comes out. Also, because I imagine this is the director's cut. I don't think I ever did
Yeah.
get around to that DLC.
Yeah, I think they
Yeah,
did
okay.
confirm it's gonna have like all
It
the extra
is.
stuff.
Okay. The tweet didn't, but it does. I looked on the Steam page. It is the director's cut. So, yeah, that is a. So I could possibly see myself going back to check it out, give it another replay, because I actually do like. I don't know. Actually, no, I probably even like the story more than the gameplay. I kind of enjoyed that story, even though the gameplay is still really good. So, and because everyone's assuming sometime this year we may get the sequel announced, so might be a good
Yeah,
time, yeah, to check it out.
that's the thing I wanted to ask. I mean, does this kind of envision in the future, like eventually we're gonna get that sequel announced soon?
You'd have to expect it.
I did hear some rumblings like if Sony does another presentation around May, that's when they would announce the Ghost 2, which honestly makes sense. Like, hey, have this PC port come out, have PC gamers fall in love, and then have like, hey, Ghost of Tsushima 2 is being revealed. It's a PS5 only, and then maybe you'll get some PC gamers go, okay, I'm gonna go buy a PS5 for this.
But yeah, because
At
it
least
feels like
that's what I think it is.
I was gonna say it just feels like oh god, I'm blanking on the name. Sucker Punch is like, yeah, next up for their next game because they weren't working on like a live service as long as I know, like in between. So it seems like they've just been on this for a while. So feels like, yeah, it's about the time's coming up that they're gonna be able to reveal it.
Yeah, I'm really excited for whatever we can see next from Sucker Punch because I still maintain Ghost of Tsushima is probably in my at least my top 3 for that generation of PlayStation. That game is phenomenal. So to see what Sucker Punch has been working on all this time gets me really excited, and to finally get this
Yep.
PC port because this is one that's been in the works for a while. It seems. Ben, you would know about this more than me. Wasn't there a rumor regarding this PC port that you wanted to bring
Apparently,
up?
the same person who like said the PC port like announced date also said that Ghost 2 will be announced, I think, in May, and that also lines up when the PC port is coming out. So who knows? Maybe it's upon us.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we discussed that a bit earlier. I can see that. It very much depends on if PlayStation decides to go for another showcase in May. Because I would
Mhm.
love to see what the hell PlayStation's got coming. Because right now there's a whole lot of nothing. I want at least something around the fall.
I mean, it
Maybe like
definitely
an Ash
seems
show.
like a whole lot of nothing in general. There's nothing huge after March 22nd, which is fine. I'm fine with it.
Yeah, it tells me this is gonna be maybe a drier year for new releases. Which honestly, I'm like, thank God, I want to work on
And
my
then
backlog.
a lot of the new releases are also like 100-hour like RPGs, so like if I can take my time with those, I'm not complaining.
Yeah, why can't the new releases be like 10 hours? Like, let's calm down, games. But yeah, very excited for PC gamers to finally play this absolute gem of a game. Moving on. We got a Dragon's Dogma 2 preview roundup. Ben Carey over at Pure Xbox kind of did a big write-up of all the previews collectively. Dogma 2 upcoming launch is right around the corner, with Capcom's long-awaited sequel landing on Xbox Series X and S on March 22nd, ahead of the game's impending releases. Various outlets have gone hands-on with the open-world RPG, and these previews are very positive indeed. IGN, my demo ended in the dead of night trying to help a character navigate the spirits, zombies, and monsters waiting for me in the darkness. But after playing almost 2.5 hours, there's no denying that Dragon's Dogma 2 had me hooked. I cannot wait to play more on March 22nd. PC Gamer says, at a glance, Dragon's Dogma 2 does indeed look awfully similar, dated even. But pay attention to where the budget has gone. Combat animations has set a new high bar, a world that truly demands when you have your own way through it, and you can see a vision for a subtly different kind of role-playing game than anyone else is making. GameSpot, in the 3 hours I played, I felt like I had seen a lot, fought a lot, and explored a lot, but I was also left feeling as though I'd barely scratched even the surface of what Dragon's Dogma 2 has to offer. I never did find the boy who was dragged off by wolves. Instead, I was hurled into a dozen other stories, some the game provided to me, while others I formed from my own exploring. Very, very high previews, which expected for this game. I think this is definitely one of the most anticipated games for a lot of us, me included. And I will say, one of the previews did mention the game is locked at 30, which
It's not locked. It's uncapped.
oh,
It's just
it's uncapped, but like it's like kind of it's
Targeting.
gonna be 30, which
at
that's
some
rough
point you
for
kind of
me.
hope they just locked it at 30 though.
Yeah, because I don't like it. I mostly prefer a locked 30 than it goes 30, but sometimes it goes 40. It's like, no, just keep it consistent at least.
Yeah.
But
I
yeah,
am
these previews are very positive. So
and like the Rise of Ronin fan. I'm kind of like that can wait until like late April, and after Unicorn Overlord and 7 Rebirth, I can play. I can play Dragon's Dogma 2 because everything I'm seeing from trailers to previews is like this is a game I think you kind of need to be there for. It's
this
gonna be some crazy stuff.
we're kind of talking about it a bit on before the pod, but this could very well be like the big stream game, the kind of the Elden Ring moment for this year. Not obviously
Yeah,
to the scale of Elden Ring, but still very much the Elden Ring moment, for
yeah,
lack of a
for
better word.
sure. I mean, this does give off like a little more Elden Ring vibes, but a little more on that kind of like throwing some narrative in your face kind of thing. I mean, like fast travel, you can't do a whole lot without some risks. I don't think there's like any quest markers on your map, or very few. Which at
It's
some
very much
point,
a
I kind
go
of
ahead.
wish quest markers maybe a little bit, but apparently it still gives you like an area, so that's fine. But I mean, I'm definitely excited, and it's gonna be like this is a game where I'm glad that I don't really have anything like I'm rushing to play ahead of it. Like I can take my time with this.
Yeah, this definitely seems like it's going to be a very big release. They did say, I think it was to 100% the game, it was about 100 hours. So it's not as long as I thought it would be, but it's still very long.
Hmm.
Beef, you feeling anything for this game?
As I say, they're threatening me with it because I know I've had Dragon's Dogma on the backlog for a while, and now I'm like wondering, do I want to play that first, or am I just
Yeah, I
gonna
gave
jump
up
in?
on that.
I know, and I've heard a lot of people gave up on it, which, for me, that's like, no, I've definitely given up on games and gone to their sequels, especially because it doesn't seem like narratively there was any connection. So we'll see. From the previews, I'm a bit shocked. I didn't think they would be this high praise, and they were like singing some very high praises. So am like worried this is gonna be like just a breakout game everyone's talking about, and I'm just gonna fall into the FOMO because I still got plenty of long ass games on the backlog right now.
I'm really annoyed at Rise the Ronin being March 22nd. Because I'm like, oh man, I really want to play that, but I'm also like, I don't want to be the only one playing Rise the Ronin while everyone else is on Dragon's Dogma 2. That would look really awkward. But even then, I mean, like,
Be
also,
on the
who cares?
backlog gang with me.
The backlog game. I lost that game a long time ago. I am very interested to see where this reviews, though. I'm thinking, honestly, with all these previews being as glowing as they are, I'm going to say something crazy. I think it's going to be a 91.
I think it's 90s as well because I'm getting very reminiscent of like the 7 Rebirth previews, and this is about as positive, if not maybe a little more than those previews were, and that it ended up scoring over a 90.
Well, I'm just glad I may or may not have in the fantasy critic league we have, so I hope you boys are expecting that 91 and won't yell at me if it gets that.
I had Unicorn Overlord, so I'm sitting pretty.
Sure.
But-
Yeah, I'm expecting similar. Like it seems like it sounds like a 90s now, which is almost scary. Almost sounds threatening.
Yeah, a
That's
little,
very threatening.
yeah, a little before we were kind of like, I don't know, but I do think it scores very well.
Can I be really honest with you guys?
Mm.
I forgot we
Go.
had a fantasy critic.
Of course you did. Now
I
you know
don't
what.
think I had in any games.
Now you know why I win. I play to win.
I played a
You
win
still got
too.
time.
Surprise of absolutely no one.
He still has
Hey,
time.
listen.
It's not even. There's got to be some other stuff announced this year, right?
Yeah, we got to get through like the summer showcases from
We don't have
everybody.
Yeah.
expansions enabled, which is tragic.
I'm a slow burner. All right, I play very loose in the beginning, and then by the end, I get like a bunch of games into my repertoire, and I win the whole thing.
Do
Hey,
we want to read off Dark's list real quick?
No, we don't need to do that.
No, we're
not
gonna
doing
do
a
that
fantasy update.
2 episodes from now.
Dude, Dark is fucked. God bless his soul. that
remake.
thing. Oh man, I'm very, very excited for Dragon's Dogma 2, though. That's definitely something. Hoping that performance patch is like maybe like a month later, or at least by launch, it's like, oh, it's actually a really smooth 30 FPS. It's not too bad. Moving into reviews of the week, I don't know. We had one big one, unless you guys want to talk about WWE 2K24.
Yeah.
Got an 82, hell yeah. But the big one is Unicorn Overlord. This actually came out on the day we're recording this today. So
Yep.
very, I actually saw it in Walmart while I was shopping earlier. It's like, oh damn, that's cool. It is sitting right now at an 88 on OpenCritic with a 9 out of 10 from IGN, a 4 out of 5 VG247, and Push Square gave it a 9 out of 10, Nintendo Life a 9 out of 10. And that's about 23 critic reviews. I'll be honest, the reviews are a lot more glowing than I expected this game. I expected this to kind of sit around the 83, 84 range, but 88.
This is Vanillaware games are normally very good. I will say my one worry is true that this game is definitely very bare bones on the story, and is a lot more gameplay focused, which means I kind of just have to reset my thinking of the game going into it and kind of like going with a different mindset, which I'm kind of struggling to do. Whenever I get to it, it might be nice to have a little more not heavy story focused with that I'm having with Final Fantasy right now when I play this.
Hey man, that's music to my ears. If you're saying that it's not story focused, let's fucking go. Oh man, I'm in.
Okay, now I'm the one behind because I thought you were still talking about WWE. I'm like, Ben's just coming out here talking about Unicorn again. I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah, WWE, I think it's gonna have a really like weak narrative. Unfortunately, I don't know why.
Mhm.
Those games usually are
Darn,
really strong.
they just can't get those narratives down.
But yeah, I'm actually really excited for this one too. This is a really rough release day because obviously Rebirth, and I've been playing so much Rebirth over the last week.
Wolf, be quiet.
Over like 30 hours of Rebirth, you know, I'm loving it.
Wolf, you've played like 4.
Yeah, but those 4 hours, those are 4 hours. But yeah, no, I mean, like Unicorn Overlord, this is definitely like a game I want to look out for. I kind of check out the demo when that came out, but I'm like, wait until the full release when I actually like can sit down with the game.
I need to try
I
the
am
demo
also-
just to make sure I like the gameplay. Because if it's mainly
Mhm.
focused on the gameplay, I need to make sure I like it.
It's just a rough like another JRPG. Okay. Now obviously this isn't JRPG like a turn, but this is like a tactical role playing game, so that's interesting to say. Exciting. Beef, you actually played the demo. Do you have any
Yeah.
thoughts on this review score along
I
with
think-
your thoughts on the demo?
Because funny enough, I think back in actually may have not been on podcast. Bench may have just asked me randomly, like the everyone else talking about Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth, and they were like, "What's the next game you're gonna buy?" And I picked Unicorn Overlord because I was like, I'm gonna be the weird one, but I did kind of expect it to review this well, which I think is maybe weird because I also like 13 Sentinels, but in retrospect, that's kind of like the turning point for Vanillaware. I don't know if Dragon's Crown or the other games, which I don't know much about, reviewed like that well. So I've been looking forward to this one, and yeah, I played the demo and I bought the game. I wish I was planning to start today, but I'll probably be able to start tomorrow, maybe 2 days from now. And I'm from where I played the demo, think I'm gonna enjoy it. I'm not too story heavy with my games. I don't need them to be that story heavy, and I just kind of need a little bit of it, especially because if I play this, like playing this in the middle of a bunch of other long JRPGs, I'm completely fine with this game not being, the biggest narrative heavy. I kind of secretly hope maybe there would be some interesting narrative like with 13 Sentinels that like kind of comes together at the end, but it seems like unfortunately it's just going to be more on the tactics, but yeah, we'll see how I feel once I actually play it.
Yeah, I saw a lot of people. I saw some people kind of disappointed. They're like, well,
Mhm.
the setting just doesn't appeal to me as much as 13 Sentinels.
It
And if
doesn't
the
have,
story's not there, but I'm into fantasy. Like I'm a sucker
yeah,
for this
from the
stuff.
demo, there just wasn't like, I don't know, I guess that uniqueness, it did seem very Fire Emblem that, and that's why, again, I was like, maybe it'll come at the end, but so we'll see. I'll see for myself. Maybe there is still like something that's not mentioned, but we'll see. I should look. I don't know how long the game is.
It's like
I don't know if
50 to
anything.
100 hours.
Oh, fuck off.
Jesus. I'll say
You know,
Jesus. Oh,
why can't we have a game be like 20 hours? I think that's cool.
yeah, yeah. I was about to say.
Hey, calm down, Sean Layden.
Yeah, how long do you think Dragon's Dogma 2 is gonna be? Like,
Uh,
no,
80 hours.
no
I
I
game's
think they
shorter
said
than
around
one.
the first one, around like 40, but if I had to guess a playthrough with that kind of game, probably over 50.
Yeah,
They
I'm
said in
just.
an interview that like 100% is 100 hours, so I assume like 40 to 50.
I'm curious how long Rise of Ronin is, because that previews are coming soon, but we haven't really had hands-on stuff to hear people's opinions.
It's going to be about Monday. We'll actually hear those previews.
Yep.
Very excited.
So here's hoping April is a calm month.
I think
April's
the
looking very
Suikoden
quiet right now.
spiritual
Yeah,
successor is
Suikoden.
Let's
finally
see, what is
big.
the biggest April release right now?
I'm
100
looking at
Currently-
well, Suikoden's a good call. Probably will play that. I think actually
Well,
kickstart that. But other than that,
yeah, I'm not
hopefully.
sure if I'll be
Yeah, I
there
do
day
want to
one.
play
I'll get
another
it
Craft's
eventually,
Treasure.
but I also need to play like the first game. And if I'm going from Dragon's Dogma to Rise of Ronin, this is all just big, long games. So who knows when I get to that?
How do you
There's
keep
a
playing
few.
these JRPGs, man?
I want to play all these. I'm not like dreading its existence. It's just going to take a while.
Yeah, like I don't think I've touched my backlog this year because I've just been
No.
playing new stuff. So
Yeah,
It's-
I like exclusively did backlog in January because I knew this was going to happen, where I was just going to jump from new game to new game.
Mhm.
So my only backlog is only from before what was the first game? Persona came out.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Actually, no, Prince of Persia. I played Prince of Persia, so I only played backlog up until Prince of Persia came out.
Hey, man. So it's gonna be a quiet year though for the like remaining months because like May doesn't have a lot. June I think is practically dead other than
No,
Elden Ring DLC.
Elden Ring DLC SMT in July, I guess. A little news is Trails Through Daybreak comes out, so that is hotly anticipated for me.
You did not. Okay. At least you said for me. If you said Trails to Daybreak, the whole industry's gonna be watching. It's
Whole
like,
very anticipated.
I'll be there.
That's pretty much everything in regards to Unicorn Overlord. Very excited for that one. When I actually have time to play it, God bless. Now we can actually talk about what we have been playing, which, as Moon alluded to in the beginning, we've like kind of massively scaled down the size of what we've been playing. So we're gonna be talking about 3 games in particular. I think I want to like start very much with Persona 3 Reload, just to get our basically on the podcast our final thoughts on it, and then we should be having a food coma coming out in the next week or two, depending on
Uh-huh.
schedules and whatnot. Who knows? But you have a timer beef.
Oh,
But-
I'm in January. I'm done.
Oh,
Might
okay,
been
cool,
up.
cool.
Just
That's
like
good.
in real life Persona, you have a time limit.
I know.
But yeah, we're very so obviously I think me and Moon already share our final thoughts, but Bench, since he was unable to make it to the podcast because he was too busy partying, drinking, college kid things.
I would never.
Yeah, okay, sure.
I was playing Mario Party.
That's
The
partying.
real man's college experience.
Yes. I
But
mean,
yeah,
yeah.
you
can-
finished up P3. Go ahead.
I
Any final
think
thoughts?
definitively I could say after playing through Persona 3, it disappointed me a little. I think going in, a lot of it was hyped up, and I mean, maybe part of me believed it would have sniffed 5 or gotten close, but I mean, it's nowhere near close to 5. I think the story is
5.
pretty mediocre. I mean, I didn't have major attachments to almost any of the characters. A lot of my issues with the game also stem from things being just characters and just things being introduced way too late for me to like kind of care about them or like for their stories to progress in a way that feels natural. So I mean, it's a little disappointing. I mean, the gameplay is great. I actually really enjoyed Tartarus. I'm with Wolf on that one. Haters are gonna hate, but I mean, I popped on like Pawn Stars on whenever I was going through Tartarus, and I
Whoa. I
had a
didn't
good
say all
time.
that. Wait, Pawn Stars? That was your choice for a Tartarus grinding?
I was Pawn Stars and some podcasts, and I think that was it. I mean, I enjoyed.
Really good?
Also, viewers, I just want you to know it's not he's watching Pawn Star episodes, they're just shorts.
I mean, these are like 3-hour YouTube videos that go through
Oh,
different
thank
things.
God.
So yeah, I'm
Thank
just
God. If
grinding.
you were like watching YouTube shorts on one hand
No,
and then doing Tartarus on the other, oh
no, it
God.
was like 3-hour compilation videos. But I mean, that was fun. I mean, the gameplay was fun. And the ending, I mean, it was kind of cool, but it didn't. Like, it was hyped up as one of the best video game endings of all time. It's mind blowing. It's emotional. Didn't really have any emotions besides a little kind of like, oh, I just gotta think on this a little, but nothing crazy. Like, Beef and Dark always talk about how they can like see the depths of the themes in this game. I can't.
That's insane. Bro
Like,
name dropped him. That is
I just
crazy.
can't. I think it's just a solid like 8 out of 10 game that kind of disappointed me a little with the expectations I had going in.
All right, Beef. This is your favorite game of all time. Now tell him he's wrong. Get his ass.
So Persona 3 is actually unironically my favorite game of all time, and it's kind of screwed up because I I always like have a few going up around the top, like around. I think I've always said I put Dark Souls as number 2, and it was kind of like tossing up because replayed
Pissed.
Dark Souls 2. Not Dark Souls 2. I've replayed Dark Souls 1 way too much. I love that game. And then the reload came out. I was like, well, we'll see how it is. And man, it has just sent it so far up. I'm afraid I don't know if anything's ever gonna catch it. I'm so happy with the remake. I'm very worried. I'm just gonna replay it real soon. I'm gonna try and hold off until the DLC comes out. So I'm gonna hold off. But yeah, I really like this game. I very much enjoy the characters. And I don't care if people don't like as much. I actually think that's fine. Like I think if you come to this after 5, I do think you'll prefer 5, and that's fine to me. I don't really have any issues with that. It is the one that now with this, I will say, if anyone out there has not played any Persona games, this is the one I would actually recommend to start with. I do think and then
Need
you'll
to go
play
back.
4 and 5, and you'll see how they get how they get different, how they get better. You can and get your preferences. So that's at least my opinion. Some people be like, "Oh, play 5 first." I'm like, "No, play 3." Plus, because especially man, it looks so good now. I can't believe
Yeah, the
it looks
visuals are
so
great.
good. I'm worried how going to 4 after this would be.
I'm going to 4 after this, so we'll see.
Yeah, I
That
Four
is.
think
is a funny one to go back to. I love that the game's
I know.
visuals. It's so
Now,
funny.
now that 4 is like so far back, I'm like, because it seems like everyone thinks, and it seems like I don't know if it's a rumor or if people just imagine they're remaking 4, but I'm like, they gotta get that.
Very,
It's
very
a
early from like the Atlas leaker. It's just
Yeah, I'm
like
like, they might.
it's gonna
They may.
happen. It's just not gonna happen for a long time.
Oh yeah, because I'm imagining 6 is gonna come out first, which is the other thing. The little differences that they have added to Reload, like even from 5, like some new battle things like Theurgy
Limit
and
breaks.
limit, like the equivalent of the limit breaks, and some more like Link episodes, just little activities with people. I'm just imagining like how they're gonna go 6. So it makes me interested to see what's gonna be different because up until this time, and I guess Metaphor 2, which is coming out, and now I'm actually a little more excited for Metaphor after playing this. I'm like, actually I could go for a whole new one, whereas before I was like, we'll see if that's for me. But yeah, I'll probably go more in depth on what the themes. I don't want to go in too far of why I like this one so much and how I think it has such a strong theme and like hits for me so well. But yeah, I just highly recommend it, and just finally want to finish it because damn, that is definitely my favorite ending in the series, and I don't care what Bench says. That's maybe is one of my favorite endings of all time.
That's the strat, is to not care what other
Yeah.
people think. Just say,
I'm
nah, fuck y'all.
Yeah, I see you people like 5. I know some people who like it's not even better than PUBG. Like it's not even top 5 of 2017.
Okay,
Like some
I'm
very
still mad about
reputable
that.
journalists tell me that
We are
PUBG is
not
better. So
okay.
how can I say 5 is a great game?
I was with him on the list, and then he was like, "PUBG has to be on here." Over Wolfenstein 2, by the way, my beloved.
Dude,
Ooh,
2017, that's a fucked up year in general.
it's
But
such a good year.
I mean, yeah, I'd put Persona 5 like it doesn't top Mario Odyssey, but it's probably my number 2 of that year. But more I love. But yeah, that's the other weird thing is like I've seen I think Moon mentioned this earlier, I've seen a lot of people like now it's weird infighting in the fan base of like what's the best one, and I'm just like these are all my top 10, so I'm just gonna
Play these games. These are
I'm
good
gonna play
games. Just
yeah,
enjoy
like
them.
I'm like because after this I'm like I'll probably just play replay this and then meta for it, but I'm like do I want to do 4 or 5 next again? Which one has it been the longest since? So, yeah, I'm just fine being like, oh, I just enjoy all these. I'm not gonna debate and argue about it.
No, they all have their strengths, and I'll even say,
Yeah.
as the Persona 5 stan around here,
Mhm.
I'll even say I would probably give Persona 3 the better quote unquote ending. Like it actually
Mhm.
felt like more like an ending than what Persona. That's probably the weakest part of Persona 5 is its
I agree.
technical ending.
Yeah, I think we'll talk about that more in the food coma, but like,
Yeah.
I think Royal does help it. I think the extra Royal content. I'm mostly thinking
Oh yeah,
OG
the Royal
5. I
content
don't.
help, but either
Um,
both endings are just like
I'd have,
endings.
yeah, but yeah, we'll talk about more if you guys like actually play through this and when I come listen, and I'll get more sappy and talk about it. But yeah, I think they all have like that's why I say nothing. I don't know if I could argue anything's better. It's just what do you there's preferences. What do you
It's a
prefer?
preference thing. And that's what's
Yeah.
kind of cool with Persona is that I think I even said this on the food coma is that they're all so different from one another. And so
Hmm.
because of that, it makes each game valid when it's your favorite because when they're all so different, obviously the difference will cater to your taste.
Yeah, I've been thinking I've been thinking a lot about all of them while we playing this. Like, man, there is like a lot of things each do like bit differently. So yeah, definitely recommend it if you're trying to get into the series now.
I will say, Beef.
Yeah.
You'd be a lot cooler in my eyes if your favorite game was Dark Souls. So maybe change that up for me specifically.
Dark Souls is not perfect either. Like Lost
Oh no,
Isolate.
God no. Yeah, no.
Yeah, like
I love that game to death, but it is
I
very
don't think
flawed.
I don't think this game is perfect. I must have really like flawed games, but yeah, I'll tell you all day and night. Like, Dark Souls 1 is flawed as hell. I know so many people who are like, wait, you couldn't fast travel for the first half? How the hell did you do this? I'm like, but that's better. You gotta learn the
That's
land.
how it works.
Yeah, I'm like, you're a psycho. I'm like, fine.
It's like, hey man, I'm a psycho with you, don't worry.
Yeah.
It was also funny as along with the people arguing like, is Persona 3 actually better than 5? But also in the last like week I've kind of seen the shift of like, yeah, Reload is good, but it's no FES.
Ain't
It
no
was
way
like
people are saying that.
that's the
I will
No
go
shot.
find the Reddit comments that I found that said that on
like
the
I can
Persona subreddit.
like I can nitpick and be like, this one cutscene is actually better in FPS, and it's not as a darker tone, but I'm not gonna sit here and say, no, you gotta go play. Even if you beat this, I wouldn't say no. Then you gotta go play FPS. Like, no, this is especially with the answer as definitive as it's gonna get. You're not really gonna get. Not gonna go back to FPS and be like, now I appreciate this.
You can't be out here hyping up the game where you can't even fucking control your party members. That
Hey,
is still insane to me.
oh yeah, that's the other weird thing. I used to defend. I mean, I still do defend it. I think it's fine in that one, but I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and be like, well, I did used to. I was joking before it came out. I was like, they gave into the woke mob. They gave into the woke mob. You can control the games, but control them. This bullshit. But now I'm like, then I'm playing. I'm like, you know what? Actually, maybe this is. Never mind. That didn't add much.
You basically just thought it was like, it's like bad, but it's not that big of a deal.
Why?
Is
Well,
that kind of your viewpoint on it?
when I played it, it was weird. Because it's not like I guess when I played it, my mind was like, "Oh, this is just how JRPGs were. You didn't control." And now, after I beat, it, I was like, "Wait a minute, that's not even true. They were not like this. Only 3 was like this. Why the hell did I think, oh, this is fine?" So I guess just because I didn't think about it, it was fine at the time. But I've always said like before this remake, if I was gonna go replay it, there's a mod even on the PS2. Like you can on the PS2 emulator. I was just gonna mod it. So yeah, it's fine for one time, but yeah, I didn't need to keep playing with that.
Well, that's good to hear. But yeah, that's probably the last time we'll bring up Persona 3 on this podcast
Until September.
Until Fusion decides to pick it back up for next week's podcast.
You're funny.
Next thing I want to bring up, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. So I'm about 60 hours into the game.
No,
Moon's
Wolf,
about
be
80.
quiet.
Beef, you just beat the game, right, Beef?
He's gone.
Nope, I stepped away. Yeah, I need to go replay. All I'll say is I need to go replay remake first because I've only played once, so I got nothing.
Ben, you're the shortest into
Well-
the game. You're about 4 hours in right now. What do
That's
you
where
think?
you are. Moon can go first.
Oh, I don't think you want me to go first.
Oh, I know. I want you to get it out of the way.
Yes,
I'm
that
having a
way.
good time. So far, I've just started chapter 9 the other day, and all I gotta say is this is not Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. This is Final Fantasy VII Recreation, because all we are on vacation. We've gone to a tropical resort. We've gone to Vegas. It's like all we're doing is just moving from vacation spot to vacation spot. So I'm hoping now that once we left the Golden Saucer, now that we can actually start doing some story.
Yeah,
That's
Sephiroth's
about
not
it.
that big of a deal. They can wait. They can go on a vacation first.
I mean, I guess it makes sense. It is the middle game. Maybe we'll get all the story in the third game. This is just like the relaxing time.
Well, this is up until the end of this, near the end of this game. It is they're searching for Sephiroth, and that takes a while.
But we got a vacation while we're doing it.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, you might as well.
it's the
If you're at
charm of the
beach-
game.
If you're at the beach, you might as well take a break. I respect it.
I mean, I guess I can just go then.
Yeah, you're not big on this game either, right, Ben?
No, I'm 49 hours in, and this is like top 5 of all time for me now. It could overtake Tears of the Kingdom. It's just going to determine the ending, if it's like good or if it's great. So I'm just like, every time I think about this game, I just have a smile on my face. Whenever I'm not playing it, I'm thinking about it. Whenever I'm playing it, I'm worried it's going to end, because I just never want this to end, because it's just, I've fallen in love with it more than I've fallen in love with the game in a very long time. I'm pretty much, the music is just probably my favorite soundtrack in a game, because there's a music track for everything. You can be a side quest, like running a dog around. There's a music track for that whole quest, and then there's a battle theme of it whenever you get in a battle in the quest. Why? I don't know. And you have chocobos in every zone. Well, there's not one main chocobo theme. There's a chocobo theme for each zone that's remixed with the zone's theme. So it's just pretty crazy, the amount of music in this game. And there's just nods to every little thing, and sometimes you'll hear the Genova chords in a song, in a scene, and then or you'll hear Aerith's or Tifa's theme or Barrett's theme in a scene. And you're and you catch that, and you just it's so good. And then I'm also story. I guess I'm loving the story. Maybe it's a little light on the main story, but character events. I mean, I think a lot of the stuff that was lacking in the first game, which rightfully so, because we were getting used to those characters, is character development and learning more about those characters. And we're finally learning about those characters in a way that's meaningful and impactful. And you see why they are fighting. You see why Barrett hates Shinra so much to result to pretty much terrorism. It's just it's so good, and the environmental storytelling in this game, you can directly see the impact of what Shinra has had on this planet in Junon and Gungaga and the Corel. And then you have even Gungaga has been touched by Shinra, but it's kind of like a brief respite, because it's nature's overtaken their damage, and that's been very cool to see. And then you have there's so many things I want to say about this game because I love it so much.
I'll center the conversation. I've been hearing a lot of mixed thoughts about the mini games. They've been doing much for you?
Oh, I love the mini games. Every mini game is fun, and I've gone to the Gold Saucer a ton because there's a lot of fun stuff to do there. I mean, even the towns in this game are probably my favorite RPG towns ever now. I can't playing more open world games are going to be hard because I'm a sucker for biome diversity in towns and open world games. And this game has that in spades. Like every time you go to a new area, you know it's going to be nothing what you've seen before, and the town is going to have a lot to do, and all of it's going to be great, and it's going to look diverse, and there's a different vibe everywhere. You can teleport from the lush jungle village of Gongaga all the way to Junon, where it's like very military and the scale is massive. And like even at like exploring Junon and proper, like the smile I had on my face for that like 2 hour story section, and then Roach, like oh my, like everything about this game brings me so much joy to the point where like I need to just talk about it. I need to speak about it because I feel so much for this game. And then the side content, I like exploring the open world.
Here's the thing. That's the thing I really need to ask about is the side content because
Mhm.
that's something that I've been hearing a lot of like negative thoughts about from some circles.
I know Fusion is not as high on. He likes this. He rolled credits and likes this game less than Remake. He said he would give an 8 out of 10. But him and Moon kind of mainlined it in the end. But I think the side content, the open world stuff is pretty checklisty, but I also enjoy that. I think giving me a reason to exist in the world and explore it and do stuff in it is fun. And also, that's also not going to be for everyone. People aren't going to be so high on a game like this that just having more content and wanting to be in the world more is good enough for them. But then there's a side quest, which I actually like. And sure, some of them are more fetch quests, but there's narratives that happen in those fetch quests that flesh out the main party and the world that I think is meaningful. And there's always like a unique music track to it. Like I was doing a fetch quest, and then all of a sudden there's this Merc commercial catchy theme song, and I'm like, hell yeah, I have that stuck in my head all week now. So I love the side content because it just gives me more excuse to play the game. Like Fusion beat the game in around 40 hours. I'm like 50, almost 50, and I have a 20 plus left. Like I'm milking this game for pretty much everything it has. And another reason why I really love this game is like the characters. Just the complex relationships these characters have, not just with Cloud, but with each other. Like the Tifa and Aerith relationship, bringing Yuffie into that, Red and Barrett, and then Cloud with everyone. Like especially Cloud with Tifa, as that's a very like interesting relationship this game. And also you have character like animations, like they can say stuff without thinking it, they can say stuff without saying stuff. And then voice acting performances have just been incredible. Like Barrett's voice actor needs awards because I'm just blown away.
Oh, Barrett's is easily the best one of the main group. that man
Yeah.
was working overtime in comparison.
And Cloud is finally getting some more kind of you're peering into his like pretty much destroyed psyche, and it's just like incredible. And a lot of the remake stuff in this like remake trilogy exclusive stuff I have in this game that's in this game are a little like, I don't know what they're gonna do with this, but I'm on board. The original exists, and I am cool with what they are doing, and I am enjoying pretty much everything about this game. Like I've talked for probably like 5+ minutes now, and it's just been positive because I love this game so much. It's gonna be so hard not when I beat this game because I'm just not gonna be able to think about anything else. So I really hope
Alright,
we get.
hit me with a negative. Do you have any negatives?
Let me think. There's probably like one thing I'm trying to think.
Tell me with a straight face you like the towers. Tell me with
I
a
like-
straight face right
I
now.
like the towers.
Okay, kick him from the podcast. Can't wait.
I like
the Ubisoft towers. We brought them
Let
back.
me explain. Let me explain why I like the towers.
Okay.
The towers gives you a point on the map, and you have to go to that point, and you're gonna not really find. You're gonna explore around that point. Having a point on the map to go to makes me want to explore more, and then gaining more points on the map makes me want to go to those places and explore and see vistas, get a little character banter and stuff. Because there's also combat encounters around the tower. In this game, like I haven't even spoken about this game's combat because it's a given after remake. It's just the best combat system in gaming. It's like I unlocked Kate Sith recently, and he's weird, and it's like he's not like any of the other characters before, and it's fun. And also, like you have 7 party members in this game, and you could throw each of these party members and make their own game with their combat system around them. That's how like in depth each character is. I mean, I just love this game, and maybe A negative is,
Can I complain
Yeah.
about the towers?
yeah, you can, I guess.
I hate that when you do a tower, it doesn't remove the fog in the area.
Okay, this shows that I'm sick. I just remove all the fog manually.
No. If I go to a tower, I want that section of the map cleared out so I can see everything.
Yeah, and I do think this is something that Ghost did, which I wish this game kind of did. You clear out all the objectives that resolve around that, and then it'll kind of like clear out the fog of war. But also, like, I don't really care because it's just making me walk around the map. Like I said, it's someone who wants to explore and just play more of this game versus someone who's just in it for the story, kind of. So it's definitely like
How's performance?
I'm playing on quality mode, and I have had no issues. It's 30 FPS, but that hasn't really bothered me. I've also played dynamic difficulty, which is the game's a good challenge for me, which I enjoy.
So is it blurry at all? Have you noticed popping? Because me and Fusion noticed popping. We thought we were crazy.
A little bit. There's a little bit of pop in that maybe like broke the immersion a little bit, but also like not enough to like bother me at all.
Fair enough. So
Yeah,
this. Go ahead. Continue.
I'm just like in love with everything about this game, and I know I'm gonna beat it probably next week because I have so much free time, and that just fills me with dread. Like I'm at the point where thinking about this game ending while I'm playing it makes it a less enjoyable experience because I don't want it to end, which is weird to say, but I mean, it's like I am so in love with this game, just everything about it. I want to scream to the rooftops that I love.
Go for the platinum then. You don't want it to end.
You say that, but I've been debating on because I'm gonna do a
Hard
replay
mode
of this
playthrough?
game, but I think I'm gonna do hard mode when the PS5 Pro comes out or DLC. Like I think that'll be because I'll get the PS5 Pro and then I guess 4K 60 maybe, or it'll some minor excuse to go through it again. I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
Like
Fair
that's what
enough.
Tears of the Kingdom. Like I'd play it all again if they just increased one tiny thing.
Yeah, despite some criticisms, like I do think this is probably going to be a GOTY contender, not just for Soggies, but for just overall Game of the Year from all the outlets and whatnot. I do wonder what competition it will have because, like we kind of said, that is a pretty light year, and a lot of the games that we've been really high on are a little more on the niche side. This is a bit more of a big name in comparison. Now, obviously, we'll see stuff like Dragon's Dogma 2 that's going to really break out.
I
Maybe
think
that's
that's
going to be another contender. I'm
yeah.
very curious.
I think Dragon's Dogma 2 will probably be the biggest contender, and it'll also show what people prefer in an open world. And a lot of critics, especially, prefer that Elden Ring and Tears of the Kingdom like design. And sometimes I do too. But sometimes it's nice to have some points on a map and kind of just do all that. Like I've been doing there's stretches where I'm doing content for 5+ hours, and I'm enjoying the hell out of it. So.
Over under chance Shadow of the Erd Tree is nominated for Game of the Year because I was actually debating this with my friend the other day. I was like, would that count?
I think some outlets, yes. Whether it's at the Game Awards, I'm not
That's
sure.
the
Yeah,
real thing.
I think that's the thing is it's going to be for certain like IGNs or GameSpots and things like that. But I think the Game Awards has set a pretty strict line on expansions and DLCs being in the expansion DLC category, then they don't break into the actual Game of the Year.
Like, part of me does want it to be eligible, but part of me doesn't, because you know
I
it's also
don't.
going to win,
No.
and that's boring. Like, DLC,
Boring. I'm kidding. I'm with you.
like, on my GG app, which I use to track games, I put DLC and stuff on there. But, I mean, putting a DLC as my number one of 2024 would feel a little odd.
No, I'm with you 100%. I'm not a big
Yeah.
fan of like DLC as Game of the Year.
Same.
Does Wolf want to talk about Helldivers?
Yeah, no, I was just about to bring that up. Had to mute my mic for a second. Yeah, Helldivers 2. I've been playing this. What is your name? Bench. I've been playing it. Beef, you haven't played any of this game yet, right?
No, I was complaining to these guys before podcast. I actually, even before like it kind of popped off, I was like talking about it with friends. I was like, "Hey, if it reviews or we should get it," and they're like, "It's $40." And I'm like, even I'm a cheap bastard. And I'm like, even you guys. So now, so I know. So, I mean, it does look. I'm sure, and you guys will talk about like what they're kind of doing right at the moment. It does sound like they're doing a very good job with it, and
Oh yeah.
I kind of
Yeah.
want to still play it.
We need to play
This
as a
game.
group.
No, I'm good. I'm kidding. I mean, maybe. I mean, listen. I'm just gonna say off the bat, this is genuinely one of the best multiplayer games I've played in a
Yeah.
while.
For sure.
I always say Left 4 Dead 2, I always kind of consider like the peak of the PvE genre. And you see all these games trying to emulate Left 4 Dead 2. I'm like, that's not going to happen. This game's not as good. This game's not as good. I think this game is on the level of Left 4 Dead 2. I think I have played this. I expect this to be basically my multiplayer game for a very long time. Me and my friend group, we always get on around the weekends, and we play the fuck out of this game, roasting each other, having fun. Because this is genuinely just a game where it's all about having fun. It's not about progressing the battle pass or doing this, that. It's literally just a game all about shooting aliens, shooting Terminator robots, dropping orbital assaults, and it's about the stories you have. One story that we had that's really funny is that one of our friends dropped one of the nukes on a base, and he armed it without telling anyone. And I just said out loud, "It's like, wait, did you arm the nuke?" Right when I said that, it blew up, and we all three of us died, and we're just all cracking up, roasting each other. And those are the type of stories that come out of a game like this when you have genuinely some of the most high quality third person shooting I've seen in a game in a while. Because
Also,
third person shooters kind of died out as a genre, and just seeing it really resurge back with Helldivers 2 got me really excited. Just from as a big fan of the genre, the shooting feels just right. All the controls fine tuned to a goddamn inch. It is genuinely some of the best multiplayer gaming I played since Apex, and that was in 2019. And I don't think any other multiplayer game in between has been nearly as good.
yeah, I'm like 4 hours, and I bought it a couple days ago. I've been playing, and it's been very good. I think the biggest compliment I can give this game is it lets you do a lot of cool shit very often, and it looks really cool and plays very cool. Like some of these like orbital strikes, you get to drop once every couple matches in a lot of multiplayer games. You drop them all the time, and it's cool as hell, and you're having a blast, and everything's blowing up, and it visually looks amazing. And it just adds to that setting. Like you're on a robot planet, and there's all these lasers going around, and they get very color of red that just makes it very cinematic. And then you're with the bugs, and that looks great, and it plays great. And then the way they did the mechs, like a couple days ago they tweeted, yeah, mechs are coming. And then 2 days ago, mechs have been halted because something's happening in the game. Everyone go liberate that planet. And then we liberate them, and we have mechs. We did it as a community, and that's cool as hell. Like, come on. I need this game to like be around for a very long time because I can see myself coming back to it very often.
And the CEO is an absolute giga chad. He's been
Yeah.
like talking a lot on Twitter, just like helping people, shouting out the community, retweeting fan art, all that good stuff, and just being like an overall like really cool person. And it's just like the community support in general has been like top tier. I would be shocked if this doesn't win community support at the Game Awards. At least it better, because this is genuinely some of the best multiplayer gaming, some of the best community support in a game for a long time. I will say, I do wonder what the longevity of this game is.
Yeah,
I
that's my
don't
worry.
need this. I don't need constant updates. I don't need live service esque thing. God forbid. I just give me an update maybe once every month or two. It's just like a small things. It doesn't have to be crazy. Just make this a game that I can come back to. I want it to basically be like a permanent game on the rotation with me and my friend group, where it's
Yeah.
like anytime we want to play a game, Helldivers 2, like let's do that for the night.
Yeah, because that's the thing with my friends is they either play like Baldur's Gate, split screen, which they've been playing like hundreds of hours over the past couple months, or they play like very minor stuff. Like I play Fortnite, they don't really play that, but this is finally the game that we all play. So we've kind of all been diving into it and having a blast so far. And I mean, I think a big worry about this is I need it to like be around for a while. Like I don't want constant updates, but I do need I don't know, because this is a game that feels like they need to kind of actively make it entertaining for people, kind of, if that makes any
Yeah, they,
sense. Like they have
they
the
threw out
mix.
their whole roadmap. Like
Yeah,
they
they
were
did.
like, "Hey, we're
Yeah.
starting anew, and this is gonna be the way," because we've seen the outcry of the community for it.
I love like the teasing stuff in this game. Like a couple people got mechs, and that like surfaces on Reddit and Twitter and stuff, and then that like blows up, you know. and then maybe you come across that, and then there's like the Illuminati, like a third people that we may be fighting eventually, and then just like the setting for the game and like democracy and everything. It makes it so funny and fun, and you get in character kind of. It's very fun.
We scream out pretty much every orbital barrage. It's like for Super Earth
Yeah.
because it's just so goofy. The whole game is just pure goofiness, and I would be shocked if this isn't in my top 10 by the end of the year.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a time where this multiplayer game could make that jump. I think if I play a lot of it and like reach level 20 or anything, it'll go on my like beaten games list. Because
Oh my god!
sorry, Wolf, but I mean, like, I feel like if you like a game that much, it's something that needs to be on there.
Well, yeah, I like the game a lot, but like you don't beat this game.
I mean, if you put in enough time, I think it deserves a spot on that list.
It'll just be nice to have at the Soggies like a multiplayer category where we actually dedicated some time to a multiplayer game, unlike last year where we kind of just threw Fortnite on the list and we gave it to Street Fighter 6.
Yeah, I'm very excited. I'm very excited to see where this game ends up for a lot of us. But I think that's the show, guys. That's an hour and a half. We get to sleep early tonight.
Hooray.
Hooray. Go ahead and do our outros, buddy.
All right, so let's wrap this up because this is supposed to be the new lean and mean slice of gaming. This is probably going to be a little bit longer. It'll be interesting to see how it will, because this was a light week on news, so it'll be interesting to see once there's actually a bit more news how lean we make it. And we did talk a bit about Rebirth and Reload for quite a bit, so it'll be interesting to see how this all evens out once we're not all talking about a singular game for a while. But yeah, hope you guys are excited for the new shorter. Hopefully it's a lot more condensed. And I think we alluded to earlier in the podcast, we are planning a Persona 3 Reload food coma. I don't think there's any other things in the works right now. Rebirth, but I think we have to wait for
That's a long ways off.
That's a long ways off. Yeah. So maybe we'll come up with some other things on the meantime. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that other good stuff. Well, what'd you say?
Play Rebirth, it's peak.
I haven't gone to the outro. Right, but we'll see you guys on the next episode next Saturday morning, and have a good one. Say goodnight, everyone.
Good night,
Compliment
play
my mic
games.
in the comments.
It's bad.
Night.
If it's bad, you're bad, man.
Night.